to talk this. After my retirement, I started to do my own projects that I didn't finish before. So this one is one of the projects, but I got discouraged a little bit. So I will stop at these 2 volumes. I finished 1 volume, Master Yinyuan, and another master, Master Hongyi, and Master Yinyuan. So now these are completed. It takes longer than I expected. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what I found about these 3 Buddhist masters. So the subject is teaching Buddhism through calligraphy. Well, calligraphy, this one, okay, is the most precious part of Chinese culture. Well, Chinese calligraphy, it's the only ancient scripts that turning into an art. Yeah, we have so many languages in the world, but this is the only one that turns into a art form, okay? And it's supposed to be number 1 among China's heritage, China's treasure. I don't know how it was selected. I learned it from the email, from my text message. They say this is the number 1. And I thought maybe Chinese medicine is number 1, okay? But they say this is number 1. I don't know who were on the panel to decide it and what were the standards, but supposedly it's one of the best among the Chinese heritage. Calligraphy has been developed in China for more than 2,000 years. Okay, Chinese written language has a history of 5,000 years. But you have to remember, brush was invented in the Han Dynasty. Paper was invented in the Han Dynasty. So it's only 2,000 years for the Chinese calligraphy. And there are several styles. Okay, one is Zhuan style. Right now, Zhuan style used in the Qing Dynasty. That's usually inscribed on bamboo. Okay, and then you have the Li style. That's also on the bamboo. Before brush was invented, you use knives to carve on the bamboo. Okay, so we have Zhuan style, Li style, regular style, running style, cursive style. Cursive style is difficult to recognize sometimes. Okay, and Chinese calligraphy has been popular in Japan, Korea, and other countries in Asia. The long story. It's also very advanced development in Japan. And usually, during the Chinese New Year, people will paste those words, auspicious words such as happiness, spring, they will paste on the front door. And to bless the year to come, to have a better life. Yeah. Whether it really has magic power, I don't know. But it's you visualize you are going to make it better. So it probably would make you more positive and more courageous in facing disaster, whatever, more resilient. So they want to start the year right. So every family will put this happiness on the door and on the red paper. Chinese always thinks the red color is auspicious. And then for the Buddhists, even after printing was invented in the Tang Dynasty, okay, the movable type appeared at that time, but the copying sutras with brush was still widely practiced in China. Even today, it is practiced. So copying sutras is not just a custom, but they say it's a cultivation, maybe. So numerous Buddhist masters, they choose to use calligraphy as a vehicle to teach Buddhism. And we can name a lot of them, but I only want to mention 3 of them, okay? And according to their birth date, the first one is Master Hongyi on the right. And then another is Master Yinyuan. And then the next one is Master Lin. Okay, so these 3 masters I will discuss today. Master Hongyi, he is a very talented scholar, actually. And he's not just an artist, a calligrapher, but also first one who introduced theater into China, theater. And he do the composing music. His music is really wonderful. People are still singing his songs. Okay, so he's a very talented person. And among all 3, and he's the only one who teach students how to select paper, how to select brush, and how to write characters of different sizes, even taught them how to evaluate the calligraphy pieces. He emphasized that in the studying calligraphy, one must learn the origins, the sources, which gave rise to characters and how they develop. That's a difficult task. Maybe not many people could achieve that, but he, starting at 8 years old, when he started to learn calligraphy from a master, they started from the very beginning. We want to teach you how the Chinese characters originated. So that's how he started. Okay, so he's mentioned you have to start from the very beginning. Okay. Also, he advanced the theory that the transmission of calligraphy pieces would depend on the personality and cultivation of the calligrapher. And he said, 自以人传. This made sense because some people, they might write calligraphy very beautifully, and people would say, oh, it's a wonderful piece of art, but it didn't get transmitted because this person was unknown, or he didn't have any achievement, big achievement. So these masters, actually, they had great achievements. And these are the 2 pieces about Amitabha, okay? And on this side, it's a Zhuan style, the style that used 2,000 years ago, look different. And this is a regular style, or even Renmin style, because usually the 4 dots, now it's like this. So these are 2, I'll just compare. This is the Li Shu, this is a Kai Shu or Xin Shu. So Namo Amitofo, same words. And this is a piece on Chan, Zen, or in Chinese, Zen, in Japanese, Zen. And then another one, Buddha. You're going to see a lot of this Buddha's character. Okay. This is 2 pieces that he wrote. One says, the one on the on my right, it says, I shall be a kind mother to all beings. Well, that probably was the same thing that pastors in Christian religion or father in Catholic religion would say, I shall be a kind mother to all beings. But this is from the Huayan Sutra, Huayan Jing. And these 2 pieces are all from Huayan Jing. This is an example that Master Hongyi liked to quote words from the sutra in his calligraphy. So that's also, the way to teach Buddhism, to explain them. Okay, and this another piece is more towards Zen. It's like the lotus flowers not touching water, also like sun and moon not dwelling in emptiness. 犹如莲华不着水，亦如日月不住空. So this shows that he liked to copy sutra sentences. And another achievement of Hongyi, Master Hongyi, is that he collaborated with his student, Feng Zikai. And this Feng Zikai is a famous artist. And he was a talented student of Master Hongyi. So they collaborate in publishing first 2 volumes. And later, because that's a wish of Master Hongyi, so Feng Zikai tried to accomplish this even during the wartime, the Sino-Japanese wartime. So he completed 6 volumes. Only the first 2 volumes, they are, the explanations or writings by Hongyi, Master Hongyi, but the rest, because he already died, so Feng Zikai continued his wish to publish this. And Master Hongyi emphasized the harmony of man and nature and the peaceful coexistence of all sentient beings. So that's the original goal of promoting vegetarian way of life. And today, even in Foguangshan, you can see some paintings promoting this Feng Zikai's work. Okay. One example, there are 6 volumes, and in my book, I quote 13 pieces, and I was just name one example. This is an example. It says, mother's feathers. Little chicks stay close to the feathers, anxiously missing their kind mother, without realizing their mother's dead, still staying around the feathers, thinking about such loving attachment. Could you not be in heartfelt sadness? This is try to convince people not to kill. Like killing a chicken, you see all these little chicks, how miserable they are. Okay. Now, one thing which is very inspiring, I think it comes with the title of my lecture and my book. So, writing with brush is to teach Buddhism. And he evidently said it. Master Hongyi said clearly that writing brush for the general public is a way to teach Buddhism. That happened in Quanzhou when the event sponsor talked to him saying that, I'm sorry, you didn't have a chance to do a lecture this time. You are writing all these days, you didn't even give a lecture. And he said, you don't make the distinction. My writing is a Buddhist way. My writing is that I teach Buddhism. I'm teaching Buddhism through this. So evidently, you see, writing for general public is teaching Buddhism. And also, Master Hongyi emphasized discipline. Maybe at that time, the discipline in monastery was not very strict. So he saw the needs for promoting it. So he really studied the 戒律, all the discipline, laws. And one of his famous pieces is 戒定慧, discipline, stability, and wisdom. And this piece actually is a favorite one possessed by Lu Xun. Lu Xun got it from a Japanese friend who got it from Hongyi. So I think Lu Xun exchanged something for that piece. He really wanted. So this piece is pretty famous, 戒定慧. And another thing that this piece is also famous is to put down. You need to put down all your worries, your attachment. That was also taught in the Heart Sutra. 放下. Okay, 放下. It's easier said than done, but it's a goal. If you can achieve it, you can really do more with your life. If you can give up all your sadness or your miserable memories, then you can proceed, you can do better with your life. The next one is Master Yinyuan. Okay, Yinyuan. And I say he's an epoch-making Buddhist leader for the revival of Buddhism in the century, in the 20th century and 21st century. Very remarkable leader. And in Taiwan, okay, he built the Guangshan temple from wilderness. You see how gigantic the temple is today, okay, with the museums, with all the activity center or whatever, lecture halls, compounds, and with so many nuns and monks. That's all what he achieved, okay. And Tang Degang in New York, Professor Tang Degang, I took his classes in 1963 at Columbia University. How long ago? 1963. Okay. And he wrote that there seems to be a rule that every 500 years, there will be an outstanding leader in religion. And in Chinese, it's a 500年必有王者心. And look at the history, say, after Sakyamuni and Confucius, 500 years later, there was Jesus Christ. Then after another 500 years, there was Muhammad. Then next, after another 500 years, you have Martin Luther. Okay, now after 500 years, there is this Master Yinyuan. So how high he, held him to be in that position. And he was very touched by what he did. He didn't have any personal property. He didn't even have any possession. Everyone's is, belong to everybody. Everything belonged to everybody, not him. So he didn't want anything. But he was the one who achieved a lot, as I mentioned later. Okay, you're going to see. And his brushwork, there's a Wu Jing Den. Wu Jing Den says endless light, endless. I have a parallel sentence about this Wu Jing Den. Okay, his calligraphy ignite the light, endless light, and the Buddhist light now shines through 5 continents. Okay, so his brushwork shines throughout the 5 continents. Now, each year, over 1 million copies of his blessings on red paper for New Year have been widely distributed all over the world. Okay, so maybe your friend, has a copy pasted in the living room written by him. But now for all 1 million copies, now they use the printing. They use printing, not all original, impossible, right? Impossible, okay. But that is very precious, okay? Everybody say, oh, I want his blessing. Okay, so it works, or it widely distributed. And he wrote about original ones. He wrote about 100 each day, 100 pieces. And the highest record for him, according to his own record, is 400 pieces on 1 day. That's a lot, right? But see how much he achieved. When he became blind due to diabetes, he continued to write. Imagine a blind person writing calligraphy, 300, 200 a day. Can you imagine? Because you couldn't see what you are writing, okay? So I read about a record. They say one master said, when he finished 100, he let the students say, come criticize me, so I know how to improve. I cannot see, you tell me. And the student will say, oh, good, that's very good. Okay, but he said, now you ask Master Wu Chang to come here. because maybe Ru Tang would tell him honestly, maybe your middle finger should use more strength, whatever. So I don't know the reason, but after 100, he would ask Ru Tang to come to give some criticism, then he would continue. And I finish another 100. Tell to get Ru Tang, because other students would just say, it's good, it's very good. So he would ask Ru Tang Fa Si. Okay, story. So continue to write. Okay, these are the New Year blessings, only examples, few examples, and they're very pretty. 1 million copies, but these are samples. Okay, just saying auspicious words, encouraging words, like your body, your mind is carefree, or New Year blessings. So Yinyuan, after he became blind, his calligraphy is called one-stroke characters, one-stroke 一笔字. It's well known because it's been exhibited all over the world. Okay, say this is a blind monk writing all these things. Because Master Yinyuan said he would complete the whole piece in one stroke, only lifting the brush a little bit in between words. Okay, he said if he lifted, he wouldn't know where to start the next word. So it's called one-stroke characters. And my friend said, his father said, now I'm old, I don't write calligraphy anymore. So I said, how come? Master Yinyuan wrote after he became blind. That's it. Okay. And there are same lines that he wrote before and after he became blind. You can tell this is before and this is after. But they say they are even more valuable, the ones that is more recent or in one-stroke characters. And this is a picture I took in one of the universities he established. I think all the settings make it look so beautiful. It's a carefree, the meaning 自在. 关照自在 is a carefree. And he promoted humanistic Buddhism. Okay, 人间佛教. And of course, heaven and earth, he emphasized, all under heaven is one family. And heaven and earth, they are in harmony. They should be in harmony. This also, I took the picture. And Master Yinyuan promoted the 3 acts of goodness. 三好运动. Say good words, do good deeds, and think good thoughts. Okay, 说好话，做好事，存好心. And these are words, to support this movement. They are actually a lot more, but these are just samples. Like this in the middle. Okay, your good words would make people feel like warmth in the 3rd wintry season, in the wintry season, make people warm. And also you don't do bad things, and you help people and do good deeds, and you should have good heart. Okay, so say good words, do good deeds, think good thoughts. And also, he taught tolerance, respectful, humble, okay? And these are all the writings in that direction. 大海量 means you have to be generous, like a big sea, okay? And you have to be mild, you have to be humble, and you have to tolerate a lot of things. If you can tolerate, then you are big. Okay, so these are his teachings. Also, he promotes something called 老二哲学, the philosophy of being number two. Well, I think this is very badly needed in this world. You know, if everybody want to be number one and make the world a chaos, that's not worth it. So how to be number two? You know, I think number two for Chinese is 韬光养晦, right? You are just to be mild, you know, and not to be aggressive. Okay. And it doesn't matter being number two, number three. What numbers? If I'm a school teacher and the students there, one person said, nobody's going to get number one except me, I would say, you're crazy. I sent you to a psychiatrist. Okay. Why only you can be number one? That's crazy, right? Okay, so the philosophy of being number two, that's very important. If it can achieve world peace, that is. So I think other things he said, I need to explore more. I don't, but it's just, 我在众中, another writing is, I'm in the big cloud. So I'm not necessarily had to be the number one, but you know, in one spelling bee contest last year or 2 years ago, they have 6 number one, right? Yeah, they have 6 number one because they're out of words and 6 are all done. So 6 number one. So in this world, we can have 6 number one. Don't fight. Okay. And all the donations, the major source is his calligraphy pieces. So enable him to establish 5 universities in this world. Okay, 2 in Taiwan. One is Foguang Daxue, one is Nanhua Daxue, and one in Los Angeles, Xilai Daxue, and one in Philippines, Guangming Daxue, and one in Australia, Nantian Daxue. Imagine, you know, not just you establish its university, you have to run the university, maintain the university. And he would say, oh, I cannot stop writing because how could this university continue to operate? You know, for me, I think to let one university run, it's difficult, right? And it's now 5 universities. Okay, and then it is also, you know, helpful in operating the Fuguangshan branches all over the world. They branches all over the world, I say 5 continents. In Arizona, there's one in Phoenix. Another piece that also has some philosophy in there. Bamboos are thin from the beginning. Pine trees are tall and stronger when old. You know, it could be, you know, stronger than old pine trees. And also, he taught patience. Master Yinyuan taught patience, wrote a lot of things, including the word 忍. In Chinese character, they say 忍, the word 忍 is a knife hanging over your heart. It's dangerous. If you don't be patient, the knife will fall on your heart. See, it's Chinese character. 忍, patience. I think all 3 masters, they teach the 忍. They spend a lot of attention to this word 忍. The third one, Yinyuan, Master Yinyuan. Okay, Master Yinyuan's calligraphy is very creative, and he is different. I put him in different volume because he's not the traditional Chinese Buddhism. He's in the Tibetan Buddhism plus all the Chinese elements. Okay, Tibetan tantric Buddhism. The reason that he was taught the tantric teachings is because his grandfather or father during the Sino-Japanese War, they run from I think before that, long before that, after Taiwan was given to Japan, and their ancestor moved to Beijing because they were, in the movement to defend Taiwan at that time. Okay, so after moving to Beijing, his family lived near Yonghe Gong. Yonghe Temple is a temple that Emperor Yongzheng gave to the tantric master to be the temple after he became emperor. After he became emperor, he moved into the palace. Okay, so his residence became a temple for the tantric masters. So he lived near there, and he and his sisters usually when they're playing, little kids playing, but the Lama there, okay, Lama's black sect tantric Buddhism, I found that he is a really, really intelligent boy. How do you say 灵童? In Chinese, 灵童. Fit for to be receiving instruction, and maybe with some, maybe a reincarnation of a Lama before. Okay, so he selected him to teach him a lot of things with their parents' approval, and he learned really fast. So he received the black sect tantric Buddhist teaching during those years by living close to Yonghe Gong. But he's really studying in everything, the Chinese, Confucianism, Taoism, he knows a great deal. But he always insists that his disciples, his students, should study both tantric Buddhism and Chinese Buddhism. And this is a piece to that effect. He said, you have to study Chinese Buddhism and tantric Buddhism at the same time. And you achieve your gradual enlightenment and subtle enlightenment at the same time. Okay, it's more effective. And actually, he believed that really is more effective in your visualization, in all kinds of your pursuits. Okay, so Master Yinyuan loaded numerous styles. He only wrote in regular style, trance style, Li style, running style, and grass style. He even could write the oracle bone styles. That's very ancient, oracle bone styles. We'll show you a little bit later. Okay, and this is just a few pieces of his writing for the Buddha. Okay, and this piece actually is in Zhuan style, but under it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 styles of the 4, on the bottom. And on the leg of the Buddha, he always wrote something that to tell you people, to teach more about Buddha's way. And also in the one in the middle said, Buddha will save the people with affinity, okay? And also he named a number of Buddhas under that leg. So he always used this to teach more, not just the word for, but under it, there are a lot of other teachings. He also wrote Guanxin Pusa, Goddess of Mercy, and then Shafo Pusa, and then Ami Tofo. We saw the Master Hongyi's Ami Tofo, and this piece, Namo Ami Tofo, is in black and wrote in gold color. Okay, and by the way, all the red colors that Professor Lin Yun or Master Yinyuan would use is that he always used a cinnabar, the mineral cinnabar. It's not ordinary painter's red. In Chinese belief, how many years ago? Actually, it's in the Ma Wangdui's medicine text. Chinese use that. Says that's something most effective in ward of evils, okay, in defense. So cinnabar, they use that to write the red. Okay. And on both sides of Guanxin Pusa, there are two lines, very interesting. 若不回头，谁替你救苦救难? If you don't turn around, who will help you from your disaster? Next one. 如能转念，无须我大慈大悲. If you can switch your thoughts, then you don't need me to be compassionate. You switch your thought, actually, the teachings. So there are special ways that he will make. He also wrote poems, on those themes. So those Namo Amitofo. On this side, it also says God is mercy. On the other side, he says Di Zhang Wang Pusa. Okay. And this next piece is non-action in Zhuan style. And on the side, there's a poem by Bai Juyi. It's not the Master Yinyuan's poem, but a poem by Bai Juyi. Interesting. Wu Wei means non-action. Okay. And he wrote, those who speak do not know. Those who know are silent. I heard it from Lao Tzu. If Lao Tzu was the one who knew the way, why did he write 5,000 words? 道德经 5,000 words. But he said this. Why he did it? So no answer. Lao Tzu was long gone. But this Wu Wei, you see how beautiful it is, right? It's a Zhuan style, Wu Wei. And he is creative in using different colors on one piece of calligraphy pieces. And this one, actually, he used 5 different colors. And there's some reason for that. Okay. And this is only 100 characters. The 5 lines in 5 characters stood for 5 elements. In Chinese, we always say 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Okay. Metal usually is white, but he uses, because white is not very conspicuous, so it's a little bit like a pink. Okay, so 5 colors. And this another piece that is teaching students. Okay, this is a vase, and on the vase it says 平安是福. Peace is happiness. Peace is happiness. Okay, and the 心诚则灵. Okay, and in the vase there are 6 different colored flags. 6 color. What are the 6? White, red, yellow, green, blue, black, right? Okay, and that stood for Anmani Bami Ho. Anmani Bami Ho. Anmani Bami Ho. Even when you are visualizing, visualizing success, visualizing peace, okay, peace for the world, okay, you think about white when you read on, and ma, red, ni, yellow, mi, blue, ho, black. Okay, so these 6 colors correspond to the mantra, Anmani Bami Ho. And also, Professor Lin tried with character and painting in one. How do you do the painting and the words in one? And his attractive piece is treasure pot, 聚宝盆 in Chinese, okay, 聚宝盆. And this combines calligraphy and painting. And with that, he composed a poem. I translate the poem. This is a treasure pot. Actually, it's a Chinese character. The first one is 聚 and 宝. the bottom of Ju become the top of Bao. And then the bottom of Bao become the top of Pen. See, very ingenious. I think he experimented a lot of times and then achieved this one. Looks really like treasure pot. There are a lot of things in the treasure pot, okay? Because his teaching is this. Don't assume seeking wealth is greedy. Money comes in handy when you need. If it's acquired and used properly, it's easier to keep a boat afloat and not to sink, okay? This is a teaching. And all you students, I hope you can get rich. You can do a lot of good deeds. You can help people. You know, if sometimes you want to help people, you don't have money, right? So if you have money, you can do those things. And it gives you really a lot of happiness. So his calligraphy always have, you know, creativity and also philosophy. So Master Yinyuan, so also in showing his creativity, he taught Chinese philosophical ideas. For example, one example here, in writing the word Dao, he explained that first stroke expressed in, let me see, the first stroke expressed in, next stroke expressed yang, and then they unify into one. And 下面 is, on the bottom is 字, means according to the law of nature. And then it can operate forever. You know, this is a law that, you know, it composed of yin and yang and united into one, and then proceed according to the law of nature. And here, there is a Zhuan style, say, 无量咒住无量福. He wrote, infinite mantra for infinite happiness. Okay, that's a blessing. And so also, you know, there's a long story because I like to teach the relativity of yin-yang. It's a complicated idea. I don't want to talk more here, okay? So cherishing affinity, that's something also he taught. The next is the word affinity in red color, affinity, yuan. Some translate into good karma, but I think maybe affinity is a good one. So this is a poem by Master Yinyuan, okay? Say, passing by or riding in boat, affinity is in each encounter. Affinity comes from sincerity and honesty, enduring humility and being modest, affinity shall last. Once affinity is gone, we will realize what we've lost, okay? So we have to cherish, you know, your friendship, with your relationship with your friends, relatives, classmates. So it's not easy to be in the same boat. Say maybe after 500 years, you achieve this. 100年, so 100 years. Okay. And also another creative thing is that Master Yinyuan would like to sometimes, you know, write with left hand. And the calligraphy written with left hand is different from the calligraphy written by the left hand, right hand. It's two different things. Like this piece, okay? And it's from Lu Xun's poem, okay? Straighten my eyebrows, I calmly facing 1,000 opponents. Lowering my head, I'm willing to serve a child like a cow, okay? So I could be very fierce, but I could be very nice, you know, to a little kid. So Lu Xun's words, and he chose to write this with left hand. So every time you see this piece, it's Yinyuan's calligraphy, it's written with left hand. Another thing also, you know, he advised his young students. It's called sitting quietly. You reflect upon the wrongs you've done. talking leisurely. You should not discuss the shortcoming of others. So that's a thing he wouldn't like to hear. So students have to observe this. And each word, he put the white on the side. So make it look more, have a 3D effect. And emphasize how important it is. Don't criticize others. Reflect upon yourself, what you've done wrong. It's a way to teach. Okay, another thing, this is a painting and poem putting together. This is a poem that he revised, Yan Zhenqin's poem. It says, at dawn, looking at the lamp and listen to the rooster, it's time a boy should set his goal. If a youngster is not diligent in his early years, when his hair turns white, he will regret only too late. And then he painted a rooster, okay, with a cinnabar, so to emphasize this. And here is a lamp on the top, lamp. And this is also a piece that he tried to advise for young people. I'm going to omit this. And then he told the students, you have to rely on yourself. And then he wrote a poem. Actually, it's vernacular. Usually, in calligraphy, you write the classical Chinese, literary Chinese, but he has a lot of vernacular. This one is vernacular too. Okay, it's a long one. It's telling the young people, it's a dangerous world outside there. You have to be careful. Okay, and this typical vernacular. It's in the restaurant in San Jose. I think in San Jose, restaurant San Jose. I took the picture. Right? It says, 能吃就是福. Being able to eat is happiness. See, it's hung in the restaurant, and the people, maybe just a beginner, in Chinese language, the student, he can tell, oh, 能吃就是福. If you can eat, you are happy. Okay, of the food has to be good, right? Okay. And also, he wrote somewhere, 是真佛只话家常, if you are a real Buddha, people can achieve Buddhahood. If you're a real Buddha, you will only talk about daily things familiar to you. The same as Master Yinyuan's humanistic Buddhism, right? You don't talk about the things that are difficult to understand for people, And this is a piece that he advised people who are officials. You have to consider the people's welfare, not being corrupt, not being, stupid. Okay, and this piece, because everyone, they may experience disasters or unhappy experience. Maybe 9 out of 10 times things don't go as you wish. But some people are lucky, but maybe these are the people that are not too many. But for those who encounter a lot of difficulties, this is the encouraging piece. It says, the road you travel through could be rough, but your heart will always be relaxed in dealing with all these things. Okay. And every time that Master Yinyuan wrote, he would offer blessings at the end, offer blessings. Okay. And even for those, not just who read it, or not for those who keep it, but for any occasion, with these blessings, he worked hard for it. And this is a piece of talisman. Actually, this is a Taoist rather than Buddhist, right? But I say that Black said they incorporate Confucianism, Taoism, traditional Chinese Buddhism, and Tibetan Tantric Buddhism. Okay, so he come up with this talisman. In Chinese, it's called Fu Lu. And it's complicated. You have everything in there. I wrote a long poem to explain this one, what is in there, but I think it's too long for for me to do it. So just the picture itself, it's really welcome for a lot of people. There's a big one written on the yellow silk in the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Taipei. 凯悦大饭店, Grand Hyatt. Okay, so it's 2-story high or something, just this piece. So this is a famous one. Lot of people put in their pockets to ward off evil. Okay, so I think Master Yinyuan's colorful creative work would definitely be included in the history of Chinese calligraphy in the future, because there are so many creative things that other people didn't do. Okay, so conclusion, right? Okay, all 3 Buddhist masters, they contribute to the teaching of Buddhism through calligraphy in their own way, and will be remembered in the future. Okay. One question before you ask. I ask first, it's puzzling for me. Do the calligraphy work of the masters really transmit or release the power of blessing? Okay. Some believe that the written words can not just liberate visual beauties, but also release the power of blessing. In the case of Master Yinyuan's calligraphy, one lady told other people, maybe she's just one example that I encountered. He would say, my husband and my son, they usually fight over something, a dinner table in the living room. They always argue, and sometimes they would become angry at each other. So I couldn't advise them, couldn't stop them, to say not to do this. But one day I told Yinyuan, say, my husband, my son, they argue all the time. I cannot stand it. And, he wrote a piece, and then she'd go back and hang it frame it and hang it in the living room. And he said, from that moment on, her husband and her son did not fight that much. Okay, they argue, but it's not so fiercely like they want to hit each other. Okay, so they become harmonious. So the effect is instant to her. Okay, I don't know, but these might be something in there, the power. Okay, and you know why so many people want the original Master Yinyuan's work? Okay, there might be something that they've experienced that they wanted, and his work become valuable. Okay, and he can support 5 universities, right? Okay. I had an idea, but I don't know whether it will materialize. Because I think we should ask Dr. Gary Schwartz in the psychology department, because he got a grant and got a scientific equipment and went to a Qigong gathering in New York City, I think, doing research, see whether the equipment would record how strong the qi tang, the qi field would do, okay? And his result is that it's strong, very strong. When everybody is practicing qigong, the scientific equipment, the needle just point, So anyway, so he got the material saying that qigong really effective. You can prove it with scientific equipment. So I have an idea maybe someday there will be a scientific equipment. You can test whether these masters' work truly works. Okay, in the case of Yinyuan Longqi, it's a 350 years anniversary of his death, but his work, brushwork was kept in museum all over the world. And maybe with the equipment, we can still test that is effective. Because Yinyuan Longqi, Ingen, according to one German traveler at that time, he was in Nara or in Shoto, I don't know, okay. There was a drought and the shogun or somebody invited Ingen to pray for the rain because it's drought and people would be hungry, famine, whatever could resort. So they were anxious. And Yinyuan performed a ceremony and the rain came. Okay. Yeah. So why this Chinese monk become so popular in Japan? Okay. But this is recorded by German traveler at that time. Okay. So we want to know whether his work also carry that kind of power. It's interesting. And maybe that's what be for the scientists to prove, not us. But I think we can give them ideas. They can do it. And all three masters taught religious tolerance, all three of them. Name one, Hongyi, Master Hongyi. Master Hongyi, he was in Quanzhou or someplace, Xiamen, preparing for a lecture. And his student was the one greeting the people who climb onto this hill to the temple to listen to the lecture. And his student met two people. They came, they say, oh, we want to go to Master Hongyi's lecture, but we are Christian. And the disciples say, if you're a Christian, why do you want to come to listen to Master Hongyi? So very discouraging for these two persons. And he said, I'm a principal at this high school, so at least he knows these gentlemen, one of them is principal of so-and-so high school. Okay. So he went back, he told Hongyi was very angry. Hongyi said, why don't you, you have to find him and apologize to him. You cannot say that we don't want Christians to come here to listen. Okay, so this person found the gentleman, and then next time he came, and every time Hongyi went to the city, he would come to listen to lecture. So that's the reason, all the people of different religion, if you come to listen, come to hear, it's okay. And also Master Yinyuan say, I like your lecture, but I'm a Christian. Okay, I can write something for you. So he will write, Emmanuel, or God loves people, the 神爱世人 and Emmanuel, that you will like. Okay, so all these masters, three masters, they're very tolerant other religion. But I think Pope also are very tolerant. Every time Master Yinyuan went to Vatican, Pope knows, oh, he's coming. He will dress up and come out to greet him. Maybe they know, they know the energy these people have and how they can, help other people. So I think that's something that people could explore, and the taught religious tolerance. And also in China, there was no religious war. In Europe, you have 30-year war. They fought over religious beliefs. In China, no. So religious tolerance. So I hope that my efforts in that direction, okay, could inspire other scholars to work on the same subject or the same other Buddhist masters, so many of them. Because originally I want to pursue with Master Shen Yan and Master Jing Kong, but I think I have to do my other research projects, my days are numbered, by my age. Although, one person said the reason they say calligraphy is the #1 national treasure is that because all the great calligraphers, they live very long life. But I think maybe that's not the truth. Maybe it's like a chicken and egg, If you live long enough, then you can practice more, right? 20 years more, you can practice 20 more years. Even if you become blind, you can write, So anyway, so my days, I need to plan for that. I don't want to get into this. I couldn't get out, So other people can do it. This is maybe it's a pioneer work, but everybody can pursue. Not just has to be me doing it. So I hope my efforts and my promotion could bring some results and more and better research on this Chinese calligraphy could come out and to make Chinese #1 treasure more visible and beneficial to all human beings.